Okay, new live. That's fine. Try to get people back in here. Go ahead and say your name in the chat when you're in. The last live kicked me out because it said that I used copyrighted sounds, but I didn't know my voice was copyrighted, so it's crazy. Whoever's in the YouTube live, go ahead and write in the live chat if you're here what your name is so that I know. I only have one right now, so I'm gonna wait and see if anyone come on in a couple minutes. We got two that followed me from the last stream that kicked me off. Yay, YouTube. Trying to be YouTube star and they just won't let me. Sad. Oh, and someone's off. It's just you, Isabella. Fun times, fun times. Oh, we got two. I think that's Melina that's on. Okay. Miss Daniels had most of her class on, so I don't really know who I'm waiting for at this point. Oh, we got three. We got three. I don't know who that third person is, but I appreciate it. Oh, no, we're back to two. Whatever. I'm just going to start because you're here and you deserve to learn. Okay, so I'm going to go over the perimeter mini assessment, some of the questions that we had problems with. I have my school whiteboard here that I shoved in the back of a trunk. So it's now in my home. Okay, so it's saying Latanya drew a square with a perimeter of 32 inches. And the perimeter is 32. And as we're going, go ahead and just type in the live chat what you think the answer is. Is this backwards to you? If it's not backwards to you, it's backwards. Okay. So what are the lengths of each side? So can somebody write and say how we find sides of a square? Anybody know how we find the sides of a square? Think about what we know about a square to find the sides. Why? Right, add all of them, but How do we know, what do we know about a square? 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 Who can tell me what we know about a square before I lose my mind? Okay, good, Isabella, 4 sides. Now remember, all the sides are equal. All the sides are equal. So if each side is the same length, how do we find out how much each side is if we know that the perimeter's total is 32? How do we find the amount of each of those sides? What would be a good equation to figure out what each side length is if we know that all sides are equal? Counting on the 3 or 4 of you that are in here. What would be a good equation for you to figure out what each of the sides is if we have 4 equal sides? I feel like I'm talking to myself, kind of am. All right, I'm gonna answer myself. Prince, try getting onto a different computer. I'm gonna say, guess he can't hear me. Okay, so one way we can figure this out is if we divide 32 by 4, because there are 4 equal sides, so each of these sides is going to be the same length. So 32 divided by 4. Who in the chat can tell me what 32 divided by 4 is? What is 32 divided by 4? Good. We got 2 answers. It is 8. It is 8. So each of these sides is going to be 8. This was one of your questions from your mini assessment last week that some of you got wrong. Okay. Oh, I'm getting so many answers. It's giving me life. Okay. So the next one is there's this rectangle. This is 9 feet and this is 3 feet. This is what you planned on making. Is the perimeter or area bigger? So first we got to figure out what the perimeter is and what is the area. So when we're finding the perimeter, what do we do? Good, we add. So we know we have 9 feet and 3 feet, but we need to know that when we're doing perimeter, we have to add all the sides, which is something that a lot of us struggled with during this perimeter subject. So I only have 2 sides, so how do I figure out these 2 sides? Well, we know in a rectangle, these sides are the same and these sides are the same. So if this is 9 feet, what would this one be? This side's 9, this side would be also 9. And if this side is 3 feet, then this side must be also 3 feet. So if we add them all together, who can do some quick math in their head? Adding up all 4 of these sides, what are we going to get? 24, good. 9 plus 9 is 18, plus 3, 21, plus our other 3 is 24. So our perimeter is 24. And so then we have to figure out what the area is in order for us to see what's bigger, the perimeter or the area. Okay, Isabella, we'll get back. That's fine. So how do we find the area? Different than perimeter. How do we find the area? Good, we multiply. We multiply 2 sides. We have to multiply the top and the side. So 9 times 3. What is 9 times 3? What is 9 times 3? Good, 27. So with this, we now can figure out that the area is bigger than the perimeter. 27 is greater than 24. So the next one is, this one was tricky because again, you have to think about what are the attributes of a square, which we're going to talk about after this. We're going to talk about the attributes of shapes because I feel like we went through that pretty quickly. But we're going to finish up with the perimeter. It says if Gordon built this fence around his house, how much did he need to complete? How much did he need to complete the fence? So this isn't telling us whether we need to do perimeter or area. You need to figure out what perimeter and area really mean to know how we can find the length of the fence he needs. So if he's building a fence around his house, are we using perimeter or area? Okay, so we're going to be using perimeter because perimeter is the amount around. Area is the amount inside. Okay, so perimeter is the correct answer to how we figure out the amount of fence he needs. Okay, perimeter around, area inside. So with perimeter, we know with a square, all the sides are equal. So we know that 7 feet is one side, then 7 must be all the sides. And with perimeter, remember that we're adding it all up. So 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7. Or another way of doing this, we see 7 4 times. This is the same as 7 times 4, which is 28. So he needs 28 feet of fence to fence in his entire yard. Okay, good, Angie. Okay. So this one is kind of working backwards. So it's giving us a rectangle, and it's saying that we don't know how long this is, but we do know that this one is 3 yards. Okay. So it wants us to find the length, and it says that the perimeter is equal to 22 yards. Okay, this is 3 yards, and this is some number of yards. So we need to figure out how are we going to get 22, okay? So we know one side, we don't know the other, and we know that in total it's going to be 22. So if we look at this, we know that a rectangle has 2 sets of equal sides, okay? So these 2 are the same. So we know that this is going to be 3. But we don't know what either of these are going to be because we don't have that number. So what we can do is we can work backwards. So we know that 3 plus 3 is 6, okay? So we know if the perimeter is 22, that 22 minus 6 is what? I'm not going to wait. It's 16. 22 minus 6 is 16. I don't know who's trying to contact me. Nobody. Okay. So now we know that the perimeter of these two sides is going to be 16 because we got rid of the 3 so that we can get closer into how long these lengths are. Okay, so if we know that these two sides are the same length, and if we add them up, they're going to be 16, what could these sides be? Who has a guess for me? Not a guess. Who thinks they know the answer to this? What if these two sides are the exact same length and they add up to 16? What are the lengths of these sides? So remember, Melina, 5 plus 5 is going to be 10. What plus the same number is going to be 16? Think of the same number, adding it together, adding it to good, and you got 8. 8 plus 8 is going to be 16. So this length must be 8. Because if this length is 8 and we add all these sides up, we're going to hit 22. Okay, that was a little confusing, but that's okay. Okay, this one is kind of around the same thing. It was on your perimeter mini assessment, and it's a kind of a weird shape. It's like, it looked like that. I don't know if you guys remember. It was number 9, if you have that out. It's number 9 on your perimeter mini assessment. So we have 3, 8, a number, 7, 5, and 10. Okay, and it said the total, the perimeter is 36. So the perimeter of all of this was 36, and they needed us to find this one side here. So who thinks they know what we should be doing first? Yes, adding all the sides up. So we're going to be adding all the sides first. 8 plus 3 plus 7 plus 5 plus 10. All right, so we know that 8 plus 3 is 11. 7 plus 5 is 12. And then we're going to be adding that 10. All right, so then we can do 12 plus 10 is 22, plus 11 is 33. So right now, all these sides together is 33, plus that little random side is going to be 36. So 33 plus a number is going to be 36. So what is this number going to be? Good, 3. So our missing side here would be 3. So a lot of perimeter is mainly just adding, but when it comes to the rectangles, it gets a bit tricky. So this one's not on the quiz, but I'm just going to draw it and we're going to try and solve it. Okay, so we have the perimeter being 30 of this is the rectangle. The perimeter is 30. We have one side length being 10. What do we know for sure of another side length here? What other side length do we know for sure? Good, Melina. Good, 10. We know that this is for sure 10, so that the bottom must be 10. So we can add these numbers up and see what we can get. So 10 plus 10 is 20. So we know that we already have 20 centimeters of the whole 30 centimeters. So we can go ahead and subtract the 20 from the whole, which would give us 10. But that's not all. We have to see what this side is. Now this side's not going to be 10 because this is not a square. Not all the sides are 10. If we know that the leftover perimeter is 10, what can we figure out between these two sides? What do we think that one of those sides are going to be? Because remember, if we add both of these sides up, we should get 10. Good. 5. Both of those sides are going to equal our leftover perimeter, which is 10. So that this side must be 5. All right, so I'm going to pause this and I'm going to move to shapes because we were on that for not a lot of time and I feel like we should probably go over that. Okay, so there's a lot of shapes that we needed to learn for the last chapter and for the polygon project now. So a polygon is a closed shape, any shape that is all closed. It could be a triangle, it could be a circle, but it cannot be that. This is not closed, it's not a polygon. Any shape that is closed is a polygon. So you're going to remember that because I can't do a poly right now. And a polygon has to have straight sides. So this is not a polygon. This is, and this is. They all have straight sides. But a shape that's like this would not be a polygon because it does not have straight sides. A quadrilateral is a type of polygon. So if these are all polygons, a quadrilateral has 4 sides and 4 angles. So a square would be a quadrilateral, a rhombus would be a quadrilateral, a rectangle would be, but a triangle would not be because there's only 3 sides. So there are some quadrilaterals that have special names. So we have a trapezoid. That is my version of a trapezoid. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides. And it has exactly 1 pair of sides that never cross. The top and the bottom will go in the same direction forever and will never touch. That means it's parallel. So it can literally just go through time and space and never touch. But there's only 1 pair. The second pair kind of go like this, which means that eventually at some point they will touch. So they are not parallel. Parallel means a set of lines that will go in the same direction forever, but will never touch. So a trapezoid only has 1 pair of those, and that would be the top and the bottom. The next one is a parallelogram, which is kind of like, it looks like a crooked rectangle almost. So these have opposite sides that are the same length. This side and this side are the same length. This side and this side are the same length. Okay. So that would be a parallelogram. Parallelogram. Okay. The next one is a rectangle. I'm sure everybody knows. So it's not a parallelogram. What's not a parallelogram? A parallelogram is not a rectangle, if that's what you're asking. A rectangle, we all know, looks like that. Yes, it is hard to write. A rectangle has 4 right angles or square corners. So a square corner would be if you make little lines on the side, little squares, it'll look like a square, okay? It has 4, and those are called square corners or right angles. So a parallelogram and a rectangle are different because a parallelogram, those sides are not right corners, okay? When you make lines like this on the parallelogram, you're not going to get a right angle. So that's how a parallelogram and a rectangle are different. These are all different shapes. Trapezoid, parallelogram, rectangle, but they're all quadrilaterals, which are all polygons. Okay, the next one is a rhombus, which it looks kind of like a sideways square. I really am not good at this. So remember that a square has all equal sides, but it's different from a rhombus because a rhombus does not have right square angles, okay? These angles where the lines connect are not square. So a rhombus is a shape that has all sides being the same length. All these sides are the same length. And the next one and the last one is a square. So remember, a square has sides that are all the same length, but it's different from a rhombus because it has right angles. So we see that a square and a rectangle are kind of similar because they both have right angles, and a rhombus and a parallelogram are similar because they don't have right angles. A rhombus, you can kind of see the similarities with this, but we're going to move on to how many names things have. So one shape can be many different names, okay? So a square, okay? We're going to think about a square, just a normal little square. So one of the names can be a square. What's another name for this shape? Think about all the categories that it's in. What's another name for this shape? Good. It is also a parallelogram, right? No. What am I saying? No. Yes. Sorry, I've been out of the game for too long as well. So yes, a square is a parallelogram because a parallelogram has opposite sides that are the same length. So another word for a square could be a parallelogram that has sides that are the same length, meaning this, and these sides are the same length as well. So yeah, sorry, it's also a parallelogram. So we have, this is a square, it's a parallelogram. What else is it? We're thinking of names for a square. So square is not just called a square. We can call it a parallelogram. We can call it what else? A what, Isabella? Yes, it is a quadrilateral. It has 4 sides. That's also another name for it. The square has the most names, actually, so we can keep going. What else? Good. It is also a rhombus. Yes. Because a rhombus has all sides being the same length, and we know that in a square, all the sides are the same length, so it is also a rhombus. Yes, Angie, it is also a polygon because it has It is a closed shape. And one more thing that you guys probably haven't thought of yet is that it is also a rectangle. It is also a rectangle. It is a rectangle because it has 4 right angles. Tricky, tricky. Okay. Let's think about another shape. I'm going to get rid of all these. What is, let's see. What is the name, or what are multiple names for this shape? Yes, parallelogram. Okay, so this is a parallelogram because the opposite sides are the same length. Opposite sides are the same length. What else? Yes, it's a polygon because it's a closed shape. What's a familiar name for this? What would you call it? Okay. Quadrilateral, 4 sides. There's one more. Think of it. What is this shape? What do you call it? Normally, in life. What else? What else do you call it? There's one more name. Yes, it is a rectangle. Normal name for it. Okay, so here's something a little different. Is we established earlier that a square is a rectangle, right? Because it has 4 right angles. But if you think about what a square is called, a square has 4 right angles and all sides of the same length. So although this can be a rectangle, you can call this a rectangle. I don't know why Kenai is calling me. A rectangle, can you call a rectangle a square? Can you say that this is a square? I'm going to answer Kenai while you figure that out. Hello. Yeah. No, I'll send you the Okay. So no, we cannot call a rectangle a square. We cannot call this a square because a square has 4 equal sides, and we know that this does not have all equal sides. So a rectangle cannot be called a square, but a square can be called a rectangle because it has 4 right angles. So if I draw these shapes out, a rectangle has 4 right angles. That is what makes it a rectangle, nothing else, okay? A square, all equal sides. Okay. So if I have this shape here, what are the different names for this shape? What are the different names for this shape? Good, it's a quadrilateral. I like how you shortened it. It's a big word. Quadrilateral. What else is this? Good, it is a rhombus. That would be a main name for it. And it is a rhombus because why? Why is it a rhombus? What makes this a rhombus? Who can tell me what makes this a rhombus? Good. It has equal sides. And Melina also said that this is a square. So what makes this a square too? Actually, no, sorry. This is not a square. Because think about a square. All equal sides, but it's 2 things. I didn't put both things. 2 equal sides and right angles. A rhombus does not have right angles because it's leaning. We see how it's leaning? It does not have equal sides, so it can't be a square. So it is a rhombus, it is a quadrilateral, and it's what else? What else is it? Think about one of those long words we just learned. Yes, it is a parallelogram. Good. So I know shapes are a little confusing, but it was a very short week, a very short lesson. And if you haven't done the project yet, that's a good way to learn all the things that you have to for the shapes. So I'm going to pause there because I know it's a lot of information. And if you need more, I will give it to you. I can make a YouTube video of my own explaining this. It's hard to do when you're not in person, which I'm sure you're understanding. Yeah, and Jana, you're confused. If you have any questions about the project, just type it on the stream. I know spring break. Isabella, don't leave yet. Okay, she left. That's fine. I know that there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of words, but if you can log on to the math book, try to. If not, it's okay because everybody else is making the videos. You have, I mean, School technically, today's the last day until spring break. Tomorrow's a teacher work day. Friday is Good Friday, and then spring break is all next week. So you have all this time to kind of figure it out. Okay, good, Isabel, you're still here. You have all this time to kind of figure it out, learn some more. If you have any questions, just let me know. We have more science. Yes, we will have more science when we come back. Miss Daniels made 2 more days of science, and then we might be going into social studies. What else is happening? Oh, we're going to start when we come back from spring break. We're starting Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, which I know we read as a class, but it's okay because you're going to have questions with it. And it should be a lot easier. It's going to be an online book, just like Frindle was. And it's going to be the same format where either me or Miss Williams is reading and doing a couple questions with you. It's going to be 1 a day. And then when we get back from spring break, we're also going to be doing elapsed time. So we're going to start the week we get back from spring break, which is April 20th. We're going to be starting that with remembering how we tell time on a clock to the nearest minute. And then we're going to be doing elapsed time, which would be like, if it's 11:15, what time will it be in 10 minutes? Something like that. And then after elapsed time, I'm not really sure what we get into. Miss Daniels, Miss Davis, no, Miss Daniels, Miss Reed, and Miss Acaro all do math. Me and Miss Williams do reading, and Miss Daniels does science and social studies. So we kind of have been splitting it up. If you've noticed, I'm not on the math videos. Miss Reed's not on the reading videos. Melina, I don't know what you're asking when you say the what. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer right now? And then also tell me if you like this, if you like Zoom calls or if you like both. I'll try and get more in after spring break. Zoom calls are hard, everybody's talking, but we can figure it out. I see a no and a yes. So what is the no to and what is the yes to? Isabella likes the video. I mean, I only have like 4 of you on here, so. No, I'm okay. Okay, you don't have any questions, got it. I do like the Zoom calls, they're just hard to hear everybody, but I'm gonna try and figure out what else we can do on those. They've been kicking some teachers out of it. You like this? Okay. I'll try and do both. I mean, this is a good way to learn new subjects. Zoom calls might be easier for just discussions. This is not easy to do with the book, with Frindle or with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so I might just keep this as math and then not do anything else with this. Okay. If nobody has questions, you can log out. If not, I'll stay for a couple more minutes if you do. But I will see you all after spring break. Have a super fun spring break of staying inside or go outside, but social distance. And hopefully I will see you afterwards. Bye, Isabella. Bye, Prince. Bye, Angie. All right, I'll go ahead and log out. You can rewatch this if you want to learn it again. Bye.